Okay, we are going to look at solving systems of equations using a method known as substitution. Up to this point, we have focused on solving systems using graphing. And just a reminder, the solution to a system of equations is the point where the lines intersect. Now, even though we're not graphing in this video, that is still true. So it's a point where the lines that are represented by the equations intersect. So the solution that we'll be getting in today's notes are still going to take the form of an ordered pair or a point. It's just that we're not going to be graphing to find that solution. We're going to use a different method called substitution. So let's look at this first example. Notice we're going to start out pretty simple with this method. It will get more complicated, but the process is still pretty much the same. So if you look at this example, you can see that we've got y equals 3x minus 4 and then x equals 2 for our two equations in the system. Now obviously x equals 2 is a pretty simple equation, right? Just x equals a number. But it does help illustrate the process. So what we're going to do is take that information, that x equals 2, and we're going to plug that into the other equation for x. So we know that x, the variable x, is equivalent to the number 2. So in the other equation, we can replace the x with a 2, because these equations are in a system. So we'll just solve that. Y equals 3 times 2 minus 4. Right, we just replaced the x with a 2. So this is where x was, and we're just going to put a 2 there. So y equals 3 times 2 minus 4. That's 6 minus 4. 3 times 2 is 6. And so y equals 2. So we have x equals 2 and y equals 2. And so our point, our solution, the ordered pair, is the point 2, 2. And that's it. So just substitute one expression that's equivalent to one of the variables into the other equation for that variable. Let's move on to example B. Y equals 2/3 x plus 5 and x equals negative 9. Again, we're given the information that x is equal to negative 9. So we'll just take that and plug it in here to the other equation for x. So y equals 2/3 times negative 9 plus 5. So again, we just replaced the x with that negative 9. So we have to do a little bit of figuring here, whatever 2/3 times negative 9 is. So remember, when you have a fraction times a whole number, we're just going to multiply by the top and then divide by the bottom. So we get negative 18 divided by 3, and that is negative 6. So y equals negative 6 plus 5, which is negative 1. So we know that our ordered pair, our answer, x we were given, negative 9, and y is negative 1. So use the x value we were given from the beginning, and then we found the y value by substituting that value, negative 9, in for x. Let's look at example C. This time we know that y is equal to 3. So we have negative 2y plus x equals 6 and y equals 3. So we're going to take that number, that 3, and plug it in for y this time, because we know that y is equal to 3. So this is, just make sure you keep the variables straight. Don't get so used to plugging in for x or y. Make sure you look at what you're given in the equation and then act appropriately. So negative 2 times our new y value is 3 plus x equals 6. We have to solve this equation. Well, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6 plus x equals 6. We have to add 6 to both sides to get x by itself. And so x equals 12. So we know that x equals 12 and y equals 3. So the ordered pair, that's the solution, is the point 12, 3. And like we discussed in the graphing section, if you plug in these values, 12 for x and 3 for y, that equation will be true. So that's a way you can check your answers. Just plug that point into both equations and then see if they're true. Okay, example D, we have 3x minus 5y equals negative 16 and y equals negative 4. Again, we know that y now is equal to negative 4. We're going to plug that in for y in the other equation. So 3x minus 5 times negative 4, don't forget that negative, equals negative 16. So again, we just replaced the y with that negative 4. Okay, so we got 3x, negative 5, keep that negative there, with the negative 4. Negative 5 times negative 4 is positive 20 equals negative 16. Okay, so we have to subtract 20 from both sides here. So 3x equals negative 36. Finally, we'll divide by 3, and x equals negative 12. So we know that x equals negative 12. We were given y equals negative 4. So that is an ordered pair solution of negative 12, negative 4. Okay, so there you have it, solving with substitution. Again, these examples were pretty basic, pretty straightforward, where our second equation was just a variable equal to a number. It will get slightly more difficult in the next few videos, but the idea, the process is basically the same. So take your value that is equal to one of the variables and substitute it into the other equation for that variable, and then solve.